welcome to my channel once again, and my name is Kwakudapa. So if you are new here, please consider subscribing to this channel, and also don't forget to share the channel for others to also benefit. So in today's tutorial, we're going to learn about how to use DAX function in Power BI. So DAX function simply means data analytics expression, and it's an expression used to create measures or do calculations in Power BI. So if you are new in Power BI, this video will help you to kickstart in DAX expressions in Power BI. And if you want to learn more about Power BI, you can watch my previous videos on introduction to Power BI. So this is the Power BI interface, and Power BI is a product of Microsoft which is used for visualization. So I will load my data set into Power BI. And to load data set in Power BI, my data set is an Excel file. So I'll just come to import data from Excel. There are different ways that you can load data into Power BI, but today we are going to load from an Excel worksheet. So I'll just click on this and I'll search for my database. So my database can be found in where is it? Okay, so this is my data set and it's loading into Power BI. So these are the various sheets in my data set. So I'll select all of them. Okay, then I'll click on load. So if I want to transform or clean the data, I'll choose transform data to load in Power Query, but this data is already clean, so I'll just load it directly into Power BI. So it takes some time to load the data into Power BI, and also automatically when you load an Excel file that has more than one sheet, Power BI automatically uses the model view to create connections or relationships between the data sets using common factors. So basically this is what the Power BI model created. So there is a relationship between the sales and products table. So if I want to create a relationship between the sales and calendar table or sheet, I can do that manually, but we have dates here, so I'll not do that. So quickly, let's look at our data set. So the data set is a sales data set. These are the different sheets. I'll choose the main data set, which is a sales data set. And the data set has salesperson, geographical areas, products, date the items were sold, the amount, and quantities. So I'll quickly go to my report area. So in Power BI, this is where you can create your reports, and on the left hand side, on the right hand side, you can see the visualization pane. This is where, or these are different visuals that you can use in your reporting. Okay, so the first measure that we talk about is how to calculate total sales. And since our data set is made up of sales, definitely we would like to know the total sales. So let's drop down on the sales sheet. So we have amount column, and based on the amount column, we are going to use DAX to calculate the total sales. So to do that, I'll just click on the dots here and I'll choose new measure. So to create DAX calculations, you need to use new measure. So I'll click on new measure and a function bar will open for me. So the first thing that I want to calculate, or the first measure that I want to calculate, is total sales. So total sales is equal to, so if you are familiar with Excel, then some of the functions in DAX will be familiar to you. So I'll use the sum function, then into brackets I'll select the sales table and the column, so sales amount, then I close the brackets and I click on enter. So this will calculate our total sales for us. So let me pull a table from the visuals, or just click on table from the visuals to create this table for us. I'll hide the filter pane. Alright, so now our measure has been added to the list under sales. So if I want to know the total sales, I'll just click here, and this adds the total sales to the table. So now I want to know the total sales per geography. I can just click on geography and it will add it for me. Let me push geography up. So basically we have the various countries and the total sales. So I can click back on total measure, come to format and choose this comma to filter, to format the values for us. Then it seems the values are very small, so I'll come to format and I'll go to values, then increase the font size a bit. Okay, I think that is fine. It's visible now. Then I also go to the column headers and increase it a bit. Okay, so now we have a nice looking table. Okay, so basically this is how we calculate total sum, or the total amount, using DAX. So the next measure or DAX calculation that we will do is to find the average sales. So to find the average sales, I will come back here, click on the dots and choose new measure. So as I said, if you are familiar with Excel, so total average sales. So if you are familiar with Excel, we use the average function to calculate average sales in, or average values in Excel. So I will choose sales amount again, then click on enter. So now this creates the total average measure. So let me click on an empty space. Let me reduce this table small and click on an empty space and select table once again. Okay, you let me add it to, okay, that's fine. So I want to find the average sales of each salesperson. So I will choose the salespersons and I'll select the total average measure. Then I'll format it by clicking on this icon. If I want to add currency to it, I can just choose the currency icon, and this is going to add currencies to it. Then I also decrease the decimal places. Let me make it 2 decimal places. Okay, and I'll apply the same formatting to this by just clicking on the total sales. Now choose 2 decimal places. Okay, I'll select this once again. I'll select this, choose the format painter and click on this to apply the same design to it. So these are the average sales of the salespersons. If we want to find the average sales in each country, I can select let me select the country table and click on average sales. So this will add average sales to the country table. So this is the average sales in each country. Okay, the next measure that we are going to do is to find the minimum sales. So I'll click on the dots once again and choose new measure, and this time around minimum sales. So I will use the minimum function followed by the sales amount. So this calculates the minimum sales for us. I'll use a card to find the minimum sales. So I'll choose this card and I'll click on the minimum measure. So the minimum sales is 0. Wow. Okay. Then the next measure that we're going to do is maximum sales. So I'll come to new measure again and enter maximum sales, which is equal to, I use the maximum or the max function followed by the sales amount. So this gives us the maximum sales. So if I want to find the maximum sales in each country, I'll select the country table once again and I'll select maximum sales. So this will add maximum sales too. So in each country, there is the maximum sales that was obtained, or that was that was obtained in each country. Okay, I can add the minimum sales as well, and this will give us the minimum sales in each country. Okay, so now the next measure that we are going to calculate is, I'll go to the next page. So the next measure that we are going to calculate is the count of sales. So I'll go to new measure once again and I'll use the count. So count of sales. Count of sales. So here I can count the number of rows. So I'll use the count row function. So there are different count that we can use, but I'll use the count rows function. Then I'll count the table. So the table or the sheet name is sales. So I'll just click on enter to create the measure and I'll select a card and click on count of sales. So this is the total count of sales. Okay, right. So the next measure that I want to do is sales per box. So before that, let me calculate the total sum of sales per box. So I'll go back here and choose new measure. So total sales or let's say sum of quantities or total quantities sold. So here I will use the sum function again followed by sales quantity. So this, I'll just select the sales quantity and click on enter. Alright, so I want to find how much was sold in terms of quantity in each geographical area. So I'll choose table once again, click on geography, and I'll select the total quantities. So this gives me the total number of items that was sold in each country. So I'll format it once again. Okay, let me push it here. So basically this is what we have as our total sales. Let me increase the font size a bit, then also the column headers. All right, let me make them bold. So this, in terms of total quantity sold, this is how much that was sold in each country. All right, so now I want to find the sales per box. So to do that, I'll select new measure once again. Okay, new measure, and the title will be sales per box. So sales per box. Okay, so this will be a division between total sales and total boxes sold. So once we have measures for the total sales and total boxes sold, we can use that to do this calculation. So total sales divided by total quantities. Okay, even though there are different ways to do this calculation, but I would use this way to do it. So now that we have a calculated measure, I can just select the table and click on sales per box. Okay, so by this, then I'll, instead of geography, okay, let me create a new table for this. So I'll click on an empty cell, empty space, click on table, then inside the table I'll choose products. So products, and I'll choose total sales, and I'll choose sales per box. So basically this is how much we sold per box. I'll just click on the first table, format painter, and apply to this one. Okay, so this is our sales per box. So this is our total sales, then each box costs 22.45. But I want to also add the total quantities to this so that it makes sense. So I'll put the total quantities here, and I'll push sales per box here so that we will have this nice table. Okay, so basically this gives us our total sales per box. Okay, all right, so now we have each product, the quantity sold, the units or quantity sold, the amount sold per box, then the total sales. Okay, right, so now we will talk about how we can use if functions to check whether the salespersons met their target or not. So I'll create a new page, go back to sales, click on the dots and choose new measure. All right, so I'm going to use the if function to check. So target. So assuming that, let's create our own metrics for it. So sales greater than 2,000, we want to check if the salespersons were able to meet their target or not. So if we use the if function, so if is a conditional function used to evaluate logical statements. So I'll select total sales. So total sales So total sales, if it's greater than, let's say, 2,000, then it should evaluate to yes. That means their target was met, else no. Okay, so basically this is how we want to evaluate the total, the target, whether target was met. Okay, so now that we have the measure, I'll select a table visual, then I'll choose target. But before that, let me select the salespersons, then I'll select target. So this will evaluate and tell us. But before that, let me also select the total sales. All right, sales before target. It seems all of them met their target. So let me modify the codes. So I'll just click on target to show up in the function box, and I'll change the amount from 2,000 to 2 million. 1, 2, 3. Right. So now, yes, so you see that not all of them were able to meet their target. So this is how you can use if function to evaluate conditions. Right. Okay, so some of them were able to meet their target whilst others couldn't meet their target. So you can use if function to find out this metric or this insight. Okay, so the next thing that we are going to talk about is we want to look at the weekly sales by using the weekday function in Power BI, or DAX weekend function. So as usual, I'll go to the sales, choose new measure. No, this time around I want to use columns. So instead of new measure, I want to create a column for that. So what I'll do is I'll go back to the data or the table view, and I'll choose new column from here. So this also gives you an option to type a formula. So what I'll do is I'll just type weekly sales equal to, so we will use the weekday function, then we will call the sales date. Okay, so sales date, where is the sales date? Okay, so this is the sales date. Then we will just press enter. Okay, sales date dot day, enter. Okay, so this calculates the days of the week for us. So we have 1 up to 7. So now let's go back to our report view and try to find out the sales that occurred on Saturday. So what I'll do is I'll go back to sales, click on the dots, then choose new measure. So note the difference. If you want to create a column, you need to use the column measure. So that is what we did here. We used what? The new column, not measure. So note the difference. Okay, so I'll go back to the report view and I will choose new measure once again. So now we want to find sales on Saturday. So sales on Saturday. Right, now that we have our weekday sales, we can calculate the sales that occurred on Saturday. So to do that, I'll just use another function called calculate. Okay, so calculate is a function it's a DAX function in Power BI that can be used to make calculations easily. So I'll select the total sales, then followed by sales week. Okay, weekly sales. That is the column that we created. All right. Then we will equal it to 6. Okay, it depends on when we start to count. So Saturday is the 6th day of the week. Then enter. So now we've calculated the sales on Saturday. So what we can do is we can either select, let's create a new table, then select products, and I'll select the sales on Saturday. So then let me just format it with currency. Okay, so these are the sales that was done in Saturday. Let me increase the font size a bit. So these are the sales that was done in Saturday for each product. Very simple. So basically these are 10 common DAX functions that can be performed easily on our data set. So if you like the video, please consider subscribing to my channel, and also help to share the channel and drop your comment in the comment section. Thank you for watching, and hope to see you in the next tutorial. Bye.